As I'm sure people are well aware, 2023 has been a silly year for games. Every month, sometimes every week, there's another great game that just wants to take your attention. I've made the best effort I can to keep up with the pace, but I, like everyone else, can't play everything. However, I can try my best to recommend games I do think people should give a go. That is why today I want to talk about WarioWare Move It. This game came out at the beginning of November, so this video is almost a month late to the party, but that's why I'm making it, because there really hasn't been a party at all for this game. I feel like it's really been lost in the shuffle. I've always liked WarioWare, but I was really reminded of this when Get It Together released on the Switch a few years back. I played that game every week for a year, competing in the weekly Gold Cups, and I really enjoyed my time with it. Needless to say, when Move It was announced a couple months back, I was very excited and very surprised. I really did not think we'd get a second WarioWare on the Switch. That being said, the biggest thing that made this game make sense though, released on the same console as another WarioWare, is Move It is motion-based, the name didn't give it away, while Get It Together was just a regular old joystick and buttons controls. This was going for more of a split co-op Joy-Con kind of thing. Now while it is a lot easier to sit down and just play a game with a regular old controller, the idea of a full motion control game sounded like just the change of pace I needed, so I got on my hat and my tropical shirt, got some good stretches in, and jumped into it. And then I pretty much rolled credits. Yes, the first thing I noticed when playing this game was just how short its single player content was. And WarioWare tends to have a really breezy story mode, but I think I knocked this out in less than 2 hours. Now the question is that a problem? To me, no. While I do enjoy watching the goofy little cutscenes with Wario and friends, even getting the occasional chuckle out of me, that is not the main draw here. Playing through to the credits in a WarioWare game is only really a vehicle to unlock all the micro games. The real meat of the game is the replayability and going for high scores. The story takes place on an island that Wario won a getaway to, along with all the other side characters you come to expect, like 9V, Jimmy T, and a couple dozen others or so. But each character, or groups of characters, gets their own cutscenes that lead into their bucket of microgames. Each of these buckets typically are paired up with a stance that the game will put you in to play the microgames. Many of these feel pretty silly, like the "Paka" stance. That only adds to the fun, especially if you aren't taking yourself too seriously. The stances are explained to you through these funny stories told to you from the voice of the island, aka the voice above. And then these not only clearly broke down how to stand and hold Joy-Cons and how to orient your body, but also brought in some extra charm and goofiness with how they were explained. Most stances will feel pretty standard and natural, and some are a little more awkward like the previously mentioned "Baka." I was even more surprised by a couple of the stances though, like the dangle one. I'm not sure exactly what it's called, but basically relies on you having your Joy-Con strapped to your wrist, which I be having done already because I'm a very safe gamer and respect the recommendations and safety standards brought to my attention when starting the game. And then you just kind of drop them from your hands, letting them free fall and be saved by the wrist strap. Sometimes you even need to kind of flip them back into your hands real fast to keep things going, which is always kind of a fun challenge. Another interesting stance is the IR camera one. This one kind of blew my mind because I had completely forgotten that the right Joy-Con had an IR camera. It really impressed me when I was playing a rock, paper, scissors minigame, and the controller knew what option I was holding up in my hand. The stance also has its cons though, Joy-Cons. The main one being, it was kind of an awkward thing to change on the fly, especially with the short leash of the wrist strap. Allowed you to hold the controller only a certain distance from your hand. It's kind of a weird feeling, but it was a cool showcase of tech, I guess. Overall, the motion-based gameplay was a blast, and it felt really good to clear some space and move around. Pretty good exercise too, I won't lie. Especially when some of the games get moving faster, I was kind of breaking a sweat. The inputs for the Joy-Cons were mostly good, with some frustrating losses coming from the game not recognizing my exact movements. You have to be pretty disciplined to not only start in the stance it tells you to, but also understand the motion each game expects of you. Some are obvious and you can get by in the first try, some are a little more ambiguous and I just kind of shrug my shoulders and lose a life in the first appearance. Once you roll the credits, there are some additional modes you unlock, but mainly they're just high score challenges and a more difficult mode to play through. These modes were fun, mainly because the game itself is a lot of fun, but I really missed having the curated weekly challenges that Get It Together had with the Gold Cups. I know I have said that the fun of this game is coming back to and replaying for those high scores or just to experience the game himself again, but having that new carrot to dangle in front of me each week with the Gold Cups and Get It Together At least made me feel like the new stuff was always being added and I was being rewarded for continuing to play the game. There is a really cool multiplayer mode I briefly checked out that I'm sure would be tons of fun in a group setting, where one player faces away from the TV with Joy-Cons in hand, and another stands facing the TV but with no Joy-Cons. The player with no Joy-Cons moves to win the games like normal, and the player who actually has the controllers has to mirror their movements while not actually seeing what the screen wants them to do. It's a neat idea that I'm sure will get a few laughs with some friends. WarioWare Move It is a short but sweet adventure with all the wacky charm you come to expect from the series. The motion control based microgames made me laugh, smile, and even sweat, and were almost always properly responsive to the moves I intended on making. Single player content is a tad light, but the replayability is there just because the games themselves are a blast to experience. I need to bring this game over to a friend's house and get some time in a group setting to really get the full experience, but I was happy enough standing alone in the middle of my room, dressed like a Taurus, moving it. Final score, 8 out of 10. Thanks for watching. I had a good time playing and talking about this game. I hope it motivates some people to check it out. I think this game sadly is going to get a little lost in the shuffle this year, but hopefully it can get some attention down the line. If you like this video and want to throw a like on it, I'd be much appreciative. If you want to see more videos like this, a subscribe would be awesome as well. If you're watching this video when it releases, you should have a little bit more time with the WarioWare Move It on the current Tetris 99 Maximus Cup, so maybe go check that out too. Anyhow, thanks again for watching, and see you next time.